Hello, everybody, and welcome to One Day Today. This is episode 32. I'm really excited about both our guests sharing today. With I say this a lot, but with everything going on in the world, and there's a lot of things going on in the world, and things that are obvious and others are not so much, depending on where you live. What's been beautiful about this space and about this virtual stage is, we get to share all the people who are up to big, beautiful things and people who are just being inspirational, extraordinary people who just kind of point us all to ourselves and to our own shared human connection. And it's been really exciting. Just the people that we've been meeting has just been so extraordinary, and I'm just humbled to be here and to have this space. But thank you for joining us, everybody. Let me say hello to Matthew, our co-host. How's it going today, Matthew?
Doing all right, man. It's nice to have this as an anchor right about now. Something to come back to and like ground in, after being awash in all the craziness that's going on in the world today. Um, I don't usually do this, but I do feel like I'd like to like get specific about something today.
Hmm.
Um, there's this growing pattern that I've been noticing, and it's it seems to be centered around certainty. Like there's so many people that I'm watching on the social networks, on the news media, on life in general, and they're just so absolutely certain they know what's going on, and they're so convinced that they're right about whatever it is they're convinced they're right about. And then you look across the aisle or you look across the street or whatever, and and there's just as many people that are just as convinced they're right about the exact opposite thing. And for me, like this is this really powerful reminder that there is no knowing anything as far as I can tell. Like there is no absolute certainty. That there is a way to prove almost anything, it seems like. And I've been watching this around the coronavirus, like watching everyone, especially the mask debate. Should have to wear a mask, don't have to wear a mask, so on and so forth. And it's actually kind of become this beautiful moment for me where humanity seems to be testing itself in a way, where they seem to be coming to a point of recognition of a lack of control and a lack of certainty and a lack of knowing. And that seems to be bringing up a lot of fear in the world. Um, and I see it. I see it in my parents. I see it in some of my friends. Um, this clinging to what they used to know or what feels familiar. And right now, I'm just feeling really appreciative of this space because it's not clinging to anything. Like what is happening here, every guest that we've brought on, everything that we've talked about, all the stuff that we've gone through, it's all bringing in that deeper knowing, that deeper trust, that deeper sense of it's all going to be okay. And I've really appreciated that, like just being able to come back to this. So I just wanted to say thank you to you and to everyone who's been on and everyone who's watched and participated. And um, I hope that the space continues to be that. It's been a wonderful thing for me, and I hope it has been at least some of that for others as well.
Absolutely. I'm glad you're sharing that. I think it's important to recognize that, it's easy as a human, especially identifying with survival and all the fear that we're confronted as just being a human. We want to believe that we know the answers to everything. It's like It's like in the totality of this infinite expanding universe, it's like, I know, like nobody else knows, but I got it. And it's like there's no growth from that space. If we think we know anything, we have to check ourselves. And there's a saying I heard, it says that those who know don't tell, and those who don't know tell. And I thought that was a fascinating saying. But what reminds me, what you're just talking about, is Socrates. When the story of Socrates, he was the oracles in ancient Greece was say that he was the wisest man in Greece, and they would explain why he was the wisest man is because what he knew is that he didn't know anything. Mm-hmm. And I think that resonates exactly with what you're saying. And I think that's a fascinating, in general, for me, is like, for me, that's the first time in my calculation that the West, like Western culture, Western philosophy, like really cemented that. And for me, in my growing up, when I really resonated with Socrates, because like as soon as I recognized that I didn't know, that's what made me open to see and listen to the voices that I don't understand, and the ones I don't disagree with, or that I don't agree with, or I don't even know if I agree with. And I think that's been one of the most transformational things in my life, is because I know I don't really know anything, I have the space that I'm willing to listen without judgment. And that's exactly what this space is intended to be. Is I don't want to say I'm right, because who am I to think I can know better? Like if I'm as flawed as the rest of us. And I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, it's like the more comfortable I am with the uncertainty of everything, the more room there is in my life for compassion and empathy.
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad you said that. I'd like to now bring out and introduce our first guest, Crystal Bright. Hello, Crystal.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us.
Here.
You're here.
The internet's working.
Yeah, hooray. We're so happy to have you,
Thanks
Crystal.
for having us.
I'm just going to jump right to it and say, Crystal, the stage is yours. I'm really looking forward to hearing you share.
Okay, well, what you guys are talking about is a perfect segue for what I'm sharing, actually. So thanks for setting that up. What I want to share with you all is a music video that finished late last year, and it's entitled "I'll Hold You." And it ended up being, I visited a friend in Thailand, and we spent a lot of time together, and he was going through a really hard time. And he had lost his job, and he's from North Carolina, but he married a Thai woman and moved over there. And he didn't know what was going to happen next, and he was very anxious. And I didn't realize how bad it was at the time. And when I got back to the States, I saw a post by his wife that she came home and found him dead. And I was in shock. I thought, this is not real. This is some sort of weird joke. And called her and found out that it was real, and lots of emotions were going on, like just disbelief and sadness and anger and all the things. And I ended up writing this song and the music video, kind of about, you just don't know how long people are going to be around. And I feel like you need to spend every moment being conscious of that, the way you communicate with people. And one of my goals in life is to empower people to be their most powerful self. And whether that's to inspire them to know that how musical they are, because humans are innately musical, because I teach music and have been performing, for the past 10 years professionally. But I've done a lot of transformational work in the past couple years for myself and for my relationships to grow and to be more loving and peaceful, but also so I can contribute that to others, for them to have more workable communication and lives that work. And I have lots of goals and projects that are in the works for, being self-sustainable and having communication skills and using music and movement and health to contribute for a working model for us to thrive and flourish, because communication and love really is so important for humans to survive and flourish on this planet. And if we don't all get on board with that, then we're not going to flourish, right? So, and what you guys were talking about with being uncertain and the uncertainty is true. Like, we don't have any, and there's never been any certainty around anything. It's been an illusion. It's an illusion that we have certainty, and that we cling on to that certainty is causing suffering. And so just being with what's so, especially around the coronavirus, has been very helpful for me, dealing with that and not living in a world of this should be this way, or this person should do that, or I should be doing this, and just having compassion and being present in the sweet present moment. And so this music video is kind of encapsulates all of that, just being present with people that you love and doing whatever you can to be there for people, because you don't know when the last time you see them is. So if you want to go ahead and show that.
I found you on the floor tonight and wondered why I couldn't see the depth of all the pain you've carried. I can't go on like this. You said I'm going nowhere fast. Leave me, I will be alright. Weeping on a prayer. Trying to be the one who saved you. Wasn't strong enough. I'll hold you till you sleep. Hold you till you sleep. I left you there with hopes when I woke that you'd be redeemed. Never thought it'd end like this. I cried because I couldn't see a way to save you from this life of abandonment and pain. I walked away too soon. I should have made more time. Try to be the one who saved you. Wasn't strong enough. I'll hold you till you sleep. Hold you till you sleep. If I can't keep you alive, I promise to stay by your side until you close your eyes. Hold you till you sleep. I'll hold you
So there's a little twist in the end. And if you guys have any questions about that, let me know. Another thing that I wanted to share is because I wasn't sure if my sound was going to be good, but if you guys can still hear me okay, I'm going to sing an a cappella song if you think it'll work. I wrote a lullaby to my 5-year-old self because, or your identity or whatever you want to call it, that voice in your head that's always saying, I don't want to, you can't make me, or just causing suffering. And I wrote this song to calm that voice when I'm feeling upset or it's just one of the tools that I use. And let me see if I can check this. Okay, do it. We can close the chat out now. Close. Oh, great. Okay. So it goes like this. You are soft, you are strong, calm your fear, I'm here. You are loved, you are safe, trust that I am still awake. From now on, we will lay our self-doubt to rest and go out and play. And repeat when if needed. So I suggest like finding tools that get you out of your head when you start getting in there and listening and getting disempowered. Abrams has been on some productivity calls with some people, and those have been really helpful for me. I don't know if I would have been making it through this COVID time without those, and having a community and accountability to push myself forward and be motivated instead of watching Netflix all the time. But I'm getting in my arsenal a bunch of tools to get out of my disempowering conversations into action and powerful action. And different things work for different people. And that's one of the things that's worked for me. So any questions or comments? I think that's all I have.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing, Crystal. Like, just the story, that beautiful song, and that would you call it a lullaby? That gave me the chills. What did you call that? That was like a lullaby to your 5-year-old self. Like, that gave me the chills. Like,
yeah,
that was beautiful. Thank you for sharing
thanks.
that.
I'm glad.
So I'm curious because I love how you said, finding your own tools to get out of your head, because that seems to be a common theme, and I could speak for myself. But how did you recognize that? Like, because you obviously have this gift for music, and at what point did you recognize that gift in yourself, and at what point did you recognize that was a tool to break out of the mind, or to at least not be pulled away by your mind?
Well, actually, now that I think about it, that's a good question. I started playing piano when I was 7, and started writing and improvising music, pretty early on, or like 14, 15. And I had a rough parenting situation, a rough family, and didn't mesh well. Was very stressful. And so I used playing the piano and singing as an escape from the stress of that. And writing songs for, I don't know how long, many years, has been a way for me to get things out of my head and emotions into a story or metaphor and work through it through the story or metaphor. I'm really into folk tales and Joseph Campbell and like folktale and mythology analysis, and using that in combination with what I'm going through, and kind of uncovering and peeling back layers to see what's actually there, like what's under the emotion. So I guess it started pretty early on. And I've written a lot of songs just working through emotions and like breakups and other things like that. But I never wrote a lullaby to actually be a specific tool for calming myself, until a friend suggested writing a letter to my 5-year-old self, a love letter. So I wrote a love letter to my 5-year-old self, just like imagining being there for myself then, and loving myself then, instead of staying in that, oh, you should do this and you shouldn't do that, and like kind of criticizing myself, but just loving that part of myself and saying, thanks for sharing, but you need to, and giving myself a hug, but you need to go over there now and go to sleep or something. And so in the process of writing the love letter, I was like, oh, well, I just need to write a song that's short, that I can memorize, that I can just sing to myself and calm myself down, and realize that's not me that's in the driver's seat, and take my power back.
That's so beautiful, and so many things come to mind. I really resonate with what you're sharing. Like for me, you kind of encapsulate what art is about. It is, seeing, it's like you might be experiencing suffering, you might be experiencing pain, whatever happens in our lives. A lot of things happen, and with what artists do so well, and like what you were just explaining, is you are seeing, you're putting the pain out there, you see it, and like you're looking at it, but you're separate. You see the separation of the story and the internal suffering, and when you so you can put the pain and transmute it and transcend the pain, transcend the fear, and make something beautiful out of it. And I love that. That whole process is magical. Just because at the time we don't know, maybe we don't even know there's a way out of that pain, and when we can actually hold it up and put it on a canvas or put it on a song, it's just like it doesn't control us. It's like we can see it and separate that pain from our. So we can have pain, we can have emotions, but we are not our pain and we are not our emotions. And I think that's beautiful. And it really, another thing you're just talking about, I love that you're talking about like the letter to a 5-year-old self, and and writing that song is, when I first met Matthew, I was in that point of my life where I was basically writing a letter to my 5-year-old self, and he helped me unlock a lot of what that was. I hid from myself without even knowing it, and didn't show up in my own skin because of that. And I feel like I have to emphasize the power of really seeing that 5-year-old child in yourself and myself, seeing that and speaking that, because we hold on to a lot of the story of that 5-year-old child more than I even recognize. So I really appreciate you saying that.
I have a question, and
Yeah.
it may not have an answer. That's okay. You mentioned using the songwriting and the music to peel back the layers, to like expose all the layers of emotion and trauma and everything, and finding what's really underneath. do you have a sense, an image, a word, anything that kind of points to what actually is underneath all of the trauma and all the beliefs and the fears and the desires?
Well, the first thing that pops to my head is the language of it, is your authentic self. You know, when people ask you what are you, like, who are you? There's so many different ways to answer that, right? Like, most people say, well, my name is this and I do this, right? And the work that I've been doing the past few years is who I am is who I want to be in the world. And that you can create that like all the time. You can constantly recreate that and choose. That's the cool thing about being human, right? I mean, we learned that in the Matrix. Like, what makes us different from AI is that we can choose. And so that's whatever you create it to be. Like, right now, I'm working with being my life on purpose is being courageous, fun, and so many things. I mean, it's constantly changing, but like, unconditionally loving and infectious love, just being those things and informing, taking that way of being and informing what I do. Did that answer your question? And I think that's closer to my authentic self. And that's what's underneath all of the stories that I made up about myself and from all the things that happened in the past, and just like putting that back there and then creating whatever I want.
One more question then. First thing that comes to mind, first image that comes to mind, that actually that's what the question seems to be. What did you come here to be?
To this planet?
To that body. First image.
A contribution.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
And inspiration. Yeah.
Well, you're already succeeding by my calculations. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Win. Check. I really, really appreciate you sharing with us, Crystal, and your story and your beautiful song and your lullaby and just who you're being is a gift. And I'm so grateful to have you here. And I hope you'll share with us more in the future and come back and
Definitely.
sing more to us.
I'd love to. And inspire
cool.
others to sing and
Perfect.
get in touch with their musicality.
Yeah.
You got to use it.
On that note, we can work on the song together.
Sweet. Let's do it.
Let's do it. I'm committed to finishing 10 songs by the end of this year, and I think I felt called to say that let's do it. That'd be fun.
All right, deal.
Perfect. Okay. I really appreciate it. We're going to check back with you in a little bit, Crystal, after our second guest shares. But thank you so much, Crystal. And thank you all for tuning in. This has been an amazing experience for me. Every day we have the stage, and I really want to invite you and encourage you to share on the stage. I want to give you a space to share the gift that you are. Like we all, whether we know it or not, we all have a unique genius, a unique passion, skill, talent, gift that makes us all better. We just receiving who you are just makes us like warm and fuzzy, and the world is better just by who you are being in the world. And we want to invite you. This is an opportunity for you to share who you are and your gift with the loving, accepting, non-judgmental space. And we want to shine your light everywhere we can. And that's why we want to invite you to share your story. And if you're just like a little bit sure, you're like, maybe I want to do it, but I'm not sure, like I'll think about it. Like, I would say you are ripe and ready to do it. You're going to gain so much out of that sharing, more than you would even expect. And I will even promise that. I will guarantee you that. But I really want to invite you to share who you are, because that's what this space is about. It's about who you are and us contributing to us all. And You know, that's part of what our mission is about. One story, one conversation at a time. We are bringing you and I and communities together in joyous celebration, unifying humanity in our diversity to create a better world for us all. And I'm very excited to invite our next guest. We have Éva Grace with us. Hello, Éva.
Hello.
Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm really kind of tickled, honored.
Well,
Blessed.
it goes both ways. We're tickled and honored to have you.
Thank you. Thank
Well,
you. Hello,
I'm
you.
just going to let, sorry,
Hi.
didn't mean to interrupt. I'm really excited to hear you share, Éva, so I'm going to just let you have at it. Éva, the stage is yours.
Thanks. Oh my gosh, Abram, you are precious beyond words. And Crystal, girlfriend, your song was amazing, and your essence is amazing, and I love your love letters to your little girl self. I'm really kind of loving this whole vibe that Matthew started with, kind of the known and unknown, certainty and uncertainty, because that's very much what I'm about, is understanding the duality of humanity. And if you're new to Éva Grace's world, which most of you are, let me tell you a little bit about myself. So I grew up in Utah as a Mormon. And I grew up believing very, very different things than what I believe now. And I grew up really kind of understanding on a completely different level what conditioning feels like. And I feel really incredibly blessed by the life that I was able to live, and the way that I was able to, little by little, peel back the veil of what makes us who we are, and kind of the essence of humanity, right? And the essence of who I am as a woman. And that was not an easy kind of unveiling to happen, right? That comes through lots of dark nights of the soul. That comes through lots of life experience. And for me, that story looked like coming right through the bowels of a codependent marriage, and experiencing disempowering ideas on a very deep level. And I kind of laugh when people say that I go too deep, because something that feels like a deep understanding is only deep because it's hidden from us. And most of the things that I talk about with my clients and with my friends, and these incredible conversations about higher consciousness, don't feel deep at all. They feel like normal conversation for us, because they're no longer hidden behind layers and layers and layers of illusions. And for me, life has become so much simpler, because I was not afraid anymore to kind of peel back the curtain in here. I know that the world feels very daunting right now, but I want you to imagine with me that you're back in kindergarten, right? And in kindergarten, there was a lot you knew you didn't know, right? So the certainty was that you were going to learn something. And the known was that you were loved, and that your teacher was going to teach you, and that all the friends in your kindergarten class were going to be learning alongside you, and that together you would graduate from kindergarten and move on to first grade, where there would be more you didn't know. And there is this beautiful innocence that I have witnessed in kindergartners. A fearlessness, a curiosity, a presence of, we're here on purpose. We're here on purpose, knowing that there's more we don't know. And that's why we're here. Right? I feel like my calling on the planet now is one of helping people understand that there doesn't need to be a fear in stepping into an unknown world. And maybe that's kind of my gift, because a long time ago, I started stepping out of this known world into an unknown world, right? I grew up Mormon, but at some point I recognized, whoa, what I know right now about the world around me is that this does not feel like it resonates with my soul. And this doesn't feel like love to me. And so I had to be willing to open my mind from the conditioning that I had been given and chosen to come down here and live. I had to be willing to open up that box and say, what is there that I don't know? Because now I'm willing to see it. Right? That's the beauty of knowing what is not good for us, right? And being brave enough to open up the windows and go, okay, big universe, you know what my question is. Show me where I can find an answer. And I learned as a very young girl that whatever you have a question about, there's an answer for. And I also learned about myself that I'm not afraid of asking the really scary questions, which is how I was able to walk away from this mindset that I was less than valuable as a human being because I was born a woman, and that I needed a man to connect me to the divine here on the planet. That's the conditioning that I chose to come here and peel back the illusion of. So for generations and generations, starting with Joseph Smith, all the women in my life lived this pattern, this idea that their choice, their permission, their pleasure, their power, their connection to God, all had to come through a man because he had the priesthood. Which meant that if anything I felt as a young girl intuitively, if I was to take it to someone, my mom or my sister or my brother, and say, I feel this is happening, or Spirit is talking to me, an angel is bringing me a message. If I was to take that information to anyone in my world as a child, I was immediately told, I don't have permission to that information because that only comes through a man. So with that kind of conditioning, it's very easy to control women, because in that world, every man holds all of the permission slips for every woman that he is told he is in charge of. Well, that's just not natural. That is perpetuating disempowerment at its core. And that is teaching and facilitating this idea that we should own the energy of another person. When the way that we have been designed to be as humans is that we are meant to self-heal, self-soothe, self-evaluate, self-assess, right? And self-correct sovereignly, independently. And then to take our sovereign, independent selves, fully powered, fully charged with the knowing of who we are inside, and then to go create with other individuals sovereignly, where we are not reaching out and trying to take power from one another and manipulate each other with these dynamics of energy. I find it hard to fully convey the levels of disempowering manipulation that I have lived. So I'm just going to make it really simple. I was sexually molested from the time I was 3, raped at 17, gave birth to a half-Black child when I was told by all of the priesthood holders in my world that I should have an abortion. And that's when I began taking back my permission slips from the people who told me that they owned my permission. And little by little, I began to peel back layers of myself. Little by little, I began to recognize energy. And the more deeper that I went in me, the more the universe began to teach me what I was wanting so desperately to know, which was help me understand how to heal. Help me understand how to love. And help me understand how to be the person I came here to be. We all came here for the same reason, which was to learn how to harness the beauty and the creative capacity of love. We did not come here to suffer. And the suffering is the illusion, because we can have peace in the middle of a storm if we understand how to get to the center of the storm. I have lots and lots and lots of tools that I've needed over the years and used over the years, but none have been as powerful as yoga. I went through yoga teacher training simply to understand how to feel the flow of energy going through my body. I needed to feel and experience the healing within me. And after doing that, life looked different. Right? I began to understand what connecting to my own source of love truly felt like. And I disconnected from every other place that I was looking for validation or recognition, because I realized that all of that was coming from within. And so now my mission is to help every person I come in contact with recognize and reignite that power that they have within them. Because we don't need to live in a world disempowered anymore. It's time, right? It's time for us to understand who we are as individuals and how we connect to the world as a whole. And yeah, that's all I got for you, Abram. I'm getting the 3-minute mark, and all of a sudden I'm like, wait, what else can I say in 3 minutes?
Thank you so much, Ava, for sharing all of that. It was inspiring. You know, your whole not only what you've been through and overcome, but just who you are being now. And just, it's so powerful. I can only imagine, you know, what it took for you to be here and to have that peace that's emanating from you, you know, through the screen. You know, it's inspiring, because you grew up in a very particular conditioned existence, which I would say all humans have a conditioned existence. You know, at some point we have to see the world from our senses and realize that the senses are not actually who we are, but it is but being born in a conditioned existence in which you are subjugated and disempowered by definition of just the gender you're born with.
Yes.
And that it's incredible that you're here sharing with us that and I'm just so grateful that you just shared all that. And I would love to hear, at what point did you recognize not only your own power, but what point did you recognize, you know, how did you harness that peace amongst all those storms? How did you find the center of the storm?
Oh my gosh, that's a good question. And what I'm going to say is wow, it's going to make me emotional. I'm not even going to apologize for it, friends. So finding the center of the storm was literally life. I allowed life to bring to me every fucking storm possible. And I had to face it, every single one of them, right? So when my son is in jail and I'm looking at him in an orange jumpsuit and I'm in the middle of yoga teacher training because he's the one who inspired me to even start yoga in the first place, and I'm standing there listening to him scream white supremacist garbage at me because he's furious and angry that I'm free and that I'm not being controlled by a man. Right? I had to stand in my storms. I had to allow myself to feel that, oh my God, I taught this to him. I taught this to him. I taught this sensitive little beautiful being that he should control women. And I have to allow him his story now too. Right? You don't know who you are until you allow yourself to see who you are. And I allowed myself to walk into fires. And I allowed myself to be a mother to 5 very incredible children who came here with their own stories, with their own missions. And what they chose to come here and do and be, they needed a very specific kind of mother for. And I said, I'll sign up. I'll be that mom who is going to let you be, make me a victim where I almost die. And I have to face my own demons of why? Why am I facing this mirror of my son is almost killing me, right? Why is this my mirror? Friends, if we're not willing to look in the mirror and go, why did I choose to live this moment? Then we're not going to learn from our pain. Right? We came here to feel. We came here to be alive. We came here to be fucking human. And that means we have to let our hearts break in order to let our hearts feel the passion that is ready to love. Right? I know someone who has healed themselves. I can feel their wholeness. And I also know someone who is just marinating in their own pain. Why? Because I used to marinate in my own. I know what that feels like. But I also know what it feels like to hold that pain in here. Like it's sacred. Like it has a mission for me. Right? And I was willing to say, why? Why did I choose to live this moment that absolutely makes me not want to live another moment? But somehow I did. And every time I was willing to walk into the middle of a fucking fire, I came out a phoenix. And I'm telling you, boys, love is a powerful force. And it's time for love to take over our planet. Right? That's what I'm here for. I know how to hold the pain. And I know how to hold the love. Because it doesn't scare me anymore. That's how.
Yeah, thank you for that. I love that last little part. Everything you said, I totally get. But that last little part, like, it doesn't scare me anymore. That to me is the most liberating statement I have heard in a long time.
Friends, the only fear we have is the one of ourselves. The masks that everyone is wearing is someone afraid of themselves. It is not COVID. It never has been COVID. Right? People need permission to take off the masks and to be themselves. But we've been conditioned so many times over and over again to believe that we're not enough, to believe that we are not worthy, to believe that there is something lacking in us. And as soon as we think that there's something lacking in us, the world can show us nothing different. This is an internal spiritual battle that we are embarking on as a humanity. That's what this is.
I feel that. Like, this is the time. I don't know if it actually is. Like, I have no earthly idea, but I resonate with that. I totally feel
I do. I do.
Mm-hmm.
It's totally time. And if you doubt it, then it's okay. Come over to my party and I'll make you believe for a minute until you know too. Okay.
It's not even about doubt. It's not even about, it's allowing love to dictate what comes next.
Ah, there, you just hit on it right there. Allowing love.
Yeah.
Allowing love. Ask and it is given. But if you don't fucking give in, you can't be given anything,
Exactly.
including inspiration for a better world. Right? You got to give in, which means you've got to take off the blinders, thinking that everything that you know is true. No. Think that everything that you know is unknown. Wake up every day and go, I don't know a fucking thing. Except that I'm alive, which means I still got purpose, baby. I don't know what this day's about, but we're going to find out.
That, oh my gosh, that. There was a point not too long ago where, like, I did not want to wake up. And, like, this is a cycle. It comes and it goes. And it is my lesson. It is a moment I came here to live, as you put it so beautifully. But in one of those cycles, one of the things that I was looking at is, okay, what's going on? Like, what am I holding on to that is like holding me back? What am I holding on to that is keeping me in this place of despair and just depression? And there's a question that just popped up, and it was, what's the point? What's the fucking point? What's the fucking point of anything? Like, what, like, what's
the meaning of life?
And it's like, and, like, the more I play with that, the more it went from what's the fucking point to, oh, really, what's, like, what's, I don't know what to
chime in on that?
Like, yeah, let's go out and find out. Like, I just have to show up each and every moment, and when I show up, then things happen, and oh, that's the point, and that's the point, and oh shit, that, damn. See, if I hadn't shown up, I wouldn't have seen that.
So I have a question for you, Matthew.
Hit me.
What's your favorite game?
Life.
Oh, smarty pants. I mean, like board game, video game, whatever. Don't be such a smart ass. Okay, play along.
It's funny you asked that. I haven't played games in a long time, but like the one that comes right now, No Limit Texas Hold'em.
Wait, what was that?
No Limit Texas Hold'em, poker.
Poker. Okay.
Yeah.
Why do you play poker?
I enjoy playing the other person. Like, it's not about playing the cards, it's not about playing my hand. It's about observing the other person and playing them, like figuring them out.
Ah, so there's a level of watcher syndrome going on.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. I love it. Okay. So you play it for fun.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's fun. It's fun for you to watch other people. It's fun for you to observe and feel strategic. Right? You play poker because it's fun.
Yeah. And
if you were playing with third graders who didn't know how to play poker, how much fun would you have?
Considering I've done that not a lot, like it's fun, like teaching them, but like
you just proved my point.
Yeah.
Exactly. So what's the meaning of life? What's the purpose of life? Because it's fucking fun. It's fun to create things. It's fun to learn. It's fun to be curious. It's fun to experience. It's fun to explore. It's fun to discover. It's fun. Life is a game. And when we know how to play and we know what game we are playing, it gets even more fun because then we choose very strategic players. Like you, when you're playing poker, you want great poker players. You want people who are going to challenge your poker abilities. Right? So you want better people to co-create a poker game with. Why? Because it's fun. I bring it back to marriage because I have two completely opposite examples for my own life of how different marriages can be. I had a 21-year marriage that was very codependent. Part of it was in Mormonism, part of it was out of Mormonism. All of it was a shitstorm most of the time. Then I had a second marriage that was most of the time bliss. Both of them had me as the player, right? So when I'm going, what's the purpose of marriage? What's the purpose of life? What's the purpose of family? What's the purpose of all of this shit? I had to distill it down and go, what's the purpose of me? I am here. Oh, this was supposed to be fun. I signed up for life. I chose the time of my birth. I chose the family I was going to be born in. I chose every child I was going to have. I chose the husband that I chose to be in a 21-year marriage with. Why the fuck did I choose all that? Oh, because when I signed up for life, I thought it was going to be fun. Okay, I got to the fun marriage the second time around. Why? Because I finally woke up to what life was about. I finally recognized what love was about. And that we get to choose. We get to choose a life of fear and control and manipulation and codependency, or we get to choose a life of love and inspiration and ingenuity and creativity. We get to choose. Why? Because planet Earth is the only place that we can experience time, space, gravity, and creation in a physical form. That was what planet Earth was about. It was a game that we very strategically pinpointed exactly what we wanted to do, be, say, come, and experience. And the sooner that we all get on board and go, why the fuck did I choose all this time around? The more fun we're all going to get to having. You came to have fun. Are you having it yet?
I love it. I'm having lots of fun. I want to bring Crystal. Let's bring Crystal back into the mix.
Yes, girlfriend.
Hello, Crystal.
Oh, you're on mute. Oh. Hold on.
Nobody mutes Crystal, baby. Don't put her in a corner.
And don't mute her.
It looks like you have to unmute yourself.
Okay,
Crystal.
there we go.
As
I had to,
always what you have to do, friends. You must unmute yourself.
right?
That's been right there.
It's only up to you. Thank you for sharing that. That was amazingly that was expressive and beautiful and passionate, and thank you.
Thank you. You created a great opening for me.
This has all been very
all open, and then I was just all weepy-eyed by the time you got to me. So you're welcome. It's just the effect you had on me couldn't be helped.
Didn't I tell you the dots always get connected somehow without us planning it?
You did say that. Yes, you did.
So there's so many things that this has been amazing in multiple fronts, and I think it's beautiful. One of the things we were just talking about, Matthew and Ava, was about what we withhold from the world is withheld from us. You know, like it's like whatever it is, whatever we're holding back, whatever we're not facing, whatever we're inauthentic about to ourselves, everything we're pretending, we are actually causing the opposite with that story. And I felt compelled to say that, but everything that this has been amazing, because I just love you said, Ava, you spoke so succinctly, you know, it's about fun. It's creation. It's like no matter where you come from, spiritually speaking, it's like every spiritual context points to humans are creators. And, you know, even the first page of the Bible, you know, is God spoke and is saying we were made in his image. And it's like we, as humans, we can create. And it's like when we choose, we can create. It's like when we identify with who we are, like authentically, we can choose to create beauty in every space we exist. But if we actually wear masks, as you were saying, Ava, we're hiding in that fear of ourselves. There's what we create is toxic.
Yes.
In every one of our environments, in our physical environment, in our emotional environment, in our psychological environment, in our spiritual environment.
It's really funny that you say that, because I just had one of my friends who's a emotion code practitioner. She spoke to that this morning, talking about how if people can make us toxic. And she asked you to ask this series of questions about all of the physical ailments you've had in your life. And when all of those illnesses happened, any major illnesses, what was happening emotionally at the same time that those illnesses happened, right? Because there's always a direct connection between how we feel in a moment and what shows up in our world, especially and always to our physical body. And it made me sit back and go, oh my God, I haven't thought about this for a long time, because during that 21-year marriage, I was always sick. I have had probably 10 to 12 surgeries, including back surgery, thumb surgery, breast augmentations, like bladder surgeries. I've had a hysterectomy. I had all kinds of issues when I was trying to have kids. And I ended up having a hysterectomy at 26 years old. And it wasn't until I was connecting with all of these divine, beautiful women coming into their divine goddess energy and listening to them talk about their cycles and how they are correlated with the moon cycles and Mother Earth, and how everything is in this beautiful rhythmic dance, females and Mother Earth, because it's an outer and inner reflection, right? And it wasn't until I was watching every time in my body, every time one of these women would talk about their cycles, right? Or one of my girlfriends would send me a text and go, I'm about to cycle, the moon is full, all this stuff. I would have this emotional response in me, because I had a deep rage that my creative ability was taken away. And why was it taken away? Because I had had so much sexual abuse as a child that emotionally my body could not handle
all of the emotions around my uterus and the abuse and the self-sabotage and self-loathing because of it, right? So then it created this physical illness.
So real quick, Crystal has to run, so I want to say goodbye to her really fast. And thank you so much for being on here. I really appreciate it.
Yes,
And,
please come back soon and sing with us some more. And that, don't forget that song. We're gonna do that song.
Yes.
Oh, you're muted again, but it's okay.
Thank you so much, Crystal. And just what you were saying, Ava.
Okay.
Was that,
Thank you
There
so
you go.
much. You guys are amazing.
there we go.
And yes, writing. And I'd love to connect with you too, Ava and Matthew, however we can.
I would love that as well.
That's the best
Actually,
part.
yeah,
Everyone gets to connect.
I will text you after because I need your contact information for the video description. So
Okay,
I'll
cool.
be in touch briefly.
So people can get in touch with you.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Thank
Thank you, Crystal.
Thank you, Crystal. Have a lovely
Bye.
day. Aloha.
Yeah, what you
So-
were just saying.
Yeah, I was just talking about the toxicity of that. That toxicity is first inside us. And there is this direct connection between our physical body and the energy emanating from people around us. And I couldn't recognize it until I was ready to extricate myself from it and really take a hard look in the mirror and go, why is all this illness happening, right, in me? Why? And there goes back to the why that I'm the only one that can answer, right? And so that's when the layers just start to be peeled back one at a time.
It's funny you're bringing this up. Well, not funny, perfect actually, and funny at the same time. Abram and I were actually talking about something similar to this last night. I lived on Hawaii for quite a while, and my experience there was manifestation was almost instantaneous. Like when I needed a van, I'd get it the next day. When I wouldn't even intentionally manifest things. Like I would just have these little fantasies in the back of my mind, and a week or two later, it would be happening. Like
You were open.
two horses, like all kinds of crazy stuff. And it was just instantaneously fast there. And every time I came back to the mainland, to Nashville or wherever, and I would hold that same space and that same intention to manifest.
Mhm.
It took so much longer. Like it took, I think, 6 months to manifest a car the first time I came back, and it's a very slow, arduous process here. And I happen to be, I'm staying with the parents right now, and they were watching a sermon last night, and I happened to step out while they were watching it, and he was talking about Jesus did not perform miracles in his hometown, that he couldn't perform miracles in his hometown. Right? You see where this is going? Like,
I do. Yeah.
And so, it's just, I love that we're co-creating this together, that there are people out here watching it, and then that we're sharing this, because just talking about this often is enough to shift some of the beliefs in other people, that creates more space to co-create faster, to manifest faster, to shift into a more harmonious way of being.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for bringing all this up. But the thing specifically that you were talking about noticing that every time you were sick, it was connected to the rage. This is something that I would love to share all the time to anyone who's willing to listen, but I find that a lot of people aren't ready for it yet. Like when the people that I meet, they're not open to hearing that. But the Hawaiians, they had a culture of 100% personal responsibility, to the point that if you got sick or if you got injured, when the doctor came to talk to you, the first thing, and it wasn't a doctor, but the first thing you would ask is, what did you do? What did you do to bring this into your life? Like what's going on? And they would work through the inner journey first. And then the physical healing would happen.
Yes, every time.
every time.
Because what we're looking at, when you look at an illness, a physical illness, you're looking at the end of a waveform. Right? So if you think of sperm, right? That's the head of the sperm at the end, right? But you've also got a tail, and where did the sperm come from? There's a beginning point of energy. And most of the time people forget that before it showed up as this sperm, there was a place that it started. Why don't we go there first?
Mhm.
Right? And illness is always the last stop of energy, which means it's dead and gone. You can't change it. It's just cleanup. It's cleanup at that point, which is like someone has shit their energetic pants, right? You're not going to go, oh, honey, can we talk about why that happened? No, you're going to go clean up yourself and then come back. We'll reevaluate, right? What did you eat? What were you thinking? Drinking all that, whatever, right? After you've cleaned it up and they're in a place where they can understand, let's talk about where the energy came from, because that's where wisdom comes in, right? The present moment is only ever being informed of the old stories. And when we are truly wise, we are integrating every one of our phases in life, from the phase of birth all the way to the future of when we're going to die. And we're saying, I'm allowing all of this to be perfect right here in the present moment. What do I need to know for this moment right here, right now, to take me where I want to go in the future? Most of the time, we're operating on old programs and old stories, constantly informing us of our present moment. Therefore, we're only recreating more of the same suffering.
Exactly. Those old programming, that old story, like, that is what we learned growing up.
Yes, that's the conditioning.
That is the indoctrination, the conditioning.
Yes.
That's it.
And what's our role? To teach people to wake up from the conditioning so that every time they energetically shit themselves, we do not take responsibility for it. We go, honey, we're going to teach you how to energetically potty train yourself. Just like I taught my babies when they were 1 how to poop on the potty, I'm going to teach you how to just energetically go take a dump where you need to, and then come back and have a conversation.
Wow.
Right? That's what has to happen, is we've got to start being accountable for our energy like we're accountable for our bowel movements, and make it that simple to understand.
And it is simple to understand.
Yes, it is. It totally is. And it's not about religion or race or ethnicity or how much you make or what your ranking is in your company. I don't care how many letters you have behind your name. If you're going to walk in my house and energetically shit yourself, I'm going to call you on it. Right? I don't care how smart you think you are. If you don't know your energy, someone needs to help you see it. And that's what we're for, gentlemen. We're their mirror, right? That's all we are, is a mirror to help people see themselves more clearly.
It's beautifully stated, and it's, kind of bring it full circle, back to the certainty, uncertainty. It is what I'm getting is wisdom is not knowledge, is not what, the story. It's the experience of, and it's in that experience that we have that choice, and we have that responsibility and power. We have the power to take responsibility for our space, but also point others who don't necessarily know that. They don't even see their own. They're wearing a mask. They're identifying with who they're not, as opposed to who they are.
But the caveat is, if you don't know your own energy, you'll be projecting onto others your own shit.
Absolutely.
Right?
Toxic.
And that's just messy.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't nobody needs that shit.
No.
I got mine. I got it.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, okay, here's how funny this is. I had a man one day come over and was looking at my art, and it was a first date. And he was taking in one of my art pieces that I had not read, and he asked me to read it out loud to him. And I hadn't read it for a long time out loud, right? It's just one of those things that you just pass by every day. And so then I paused and was like, okay, I'll read it to him. I started reading it to him, and it made me cry. I started weeping at my own art, which had never happened. And I was like, whoa, that was incredible. He started apologizing he started immediately trying to wipe up any of my shit. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing? This is my moment. I'm fully feeling this moment with my painting. Don't try to change how I feel ever, right? How I feel is my responsibility. I said, and he goes, well, I didn't mean to upset you. And I said, you didn't. You didn't do anything. You simply gave me an opportunity to feel something deeper with my own painting, right? I said, don't try to own what doesn't belong to you to take. Because we came here to feel as humans, which means we feel the pain, we feel the hurt, we feel the love, we feel the kindness, we feel the coldness, right? We came here to live in 4 seasons and to taste all the food. We came here to swing on the swings and jump in the water and to feel the sunshine on our face. We came here to feel sunburnt and know that we need to put sunscreen on. We came here to feel cold and then go put a coat on, right? That's the beauty of having a conscious mind, is that we get to take the feedback that we're given and go, I can do something different now, because now I'm a little bit wiser than I was 2 seconds ago. I learned. Look at me, I learned something.
I love it. Thank you for this. Has been an amazing conversation, Ava, and I really appreciate and just acknowledge who you are and just the amazing work you're doing, but just who you're being is just inspiring, and it's so awesome to hear you share. You know, you are a gift, and I'm so happy to have you today, and I want you to come back and share some more and share some of your art.
I will.
We would love that.
You have been a gift to me, both of you, Matthew and Abram. Thank you for inviting me onto your stage and letting me speak my truth, babies.
Well, it was our pleasure. It's really amazing hearing you share. So thank you. Really appreciate it.
This was a good time. Let's do it again.
I had a great time. Yeah, let's do it again. Let's do it again.
Until next time.
Thank you, Ava. And thank you all you friends tuning in. This has been an amazing conversation, and I really hope you gained some value from the conversation. You know I did, and I'm really inspired. You know, this is I love this job because I meet the most incredible people, but also hear the most incredible stories and just see things in myself that I wouldn't have found unless I had just hear and see the beautiful humans and what they've experienced, and showing me more of myself and who I am. And it's just such a beautiful cycle. So I want to again invite you to encourage you to share on the stage. You know, this is a space for you to share your gift, and we all benefit from it. We all benefit from the gift. And you know, this is your space to share yourself, and we want to invite you to join us and join hands with our movement. If you'd like to go to our website, onedaymvmt.org. There are opportunities to be on the stage here, to volunteer your energy, your time, and if you have a contribution monetarily, we would love to have your support. So thank you for joining us and being a part of this. And this is all pointing towards our one-day vision, which is humanity rising in a connected world with each person's unique contributions being valued and magnified through higher levels of collaboration, producing unprecedented new realms of possibility. Thank you all for joining us. I love you all. We will see you next week on Tuesday. Be safe, be well. Take care, everybody.